Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Today I rise in support of legislation to repeal Michigan's prevailing wage law. At the very beginning of this year, I sponsored and introduced Senate Bill 1 as part of the three-bill package to repeal prevailing wage. This repeal of prevailing wage has been one of my top legislative priorities since I was first elected to the legislature, and is based on my experience as a township official and state representative. Prevailing wage laws artificially raise the cost of construction for projects that are paid for with taxpayer dollars. Labor costs typically account for 25% of the overall construction costs, and prevailing wage based solely on examining union wages results in inflation somewhere between 40 and 60% of the labor costs. As a result, overall construction price of a government-funded or taxpayer-funded project is inflated between 10 and 15%. Supporters of prevailing wage often cite superior craftsmanship and safer conditions as a reason for preserving this outdated requirement. I would simply say all construction is subject to the same inspections, same codes, same safety standards, regardless of whether the job is subject to prevailing laws or not. Over 80% of construction workers do not belong to a union, and I hazard to say that the buildings that those men and women construct are as sound as those constructed by their counterparts. We have made great strides in the state of Michigan over the past few years. Michigan's unemployment rate has dropped to 5.9, the lowest in 14 years. We have gained more private sector jobs than any other Midwestern state since 2010, and job providers in Michigan have created nearly 400,000 private sector jobs. We need to continue to pass common sense policies that support our taxpayers and help stimulate our economy. The passage of this legislation, Michigan will join 18 other states that do not have prevailing wage laws. In fact, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, more than 11,000 jobs were added to Michigan's payroll as a direct result of the suspension of prevailing wage law from December 1994 through June of 1997. When we talk about the impact of prevailing wage laws, we are really talking about state contracts and projects, and more specifically, we are talking about our schools. In 2013, the Anderson Economic Group concluded that repealing prevailing wage would have saved Michigan's universities, community colleges, and school districts more than $200 million a year. Repealing prevailing wage will result in millions of tax dollars saved. Taxpayers will pay less for their schools, a less expensive price tag for construction, which means our communities, which are financing this, will be financing less, saving taxpayer money over the life of the entire asset. And as I said before, my main reason for sponsoring the legislation and championing the repeal of prevailing wage laws in Michigan is that I just don't think it's right that taxpayers should pay more than private industry for their construction. Today we have an opportunity to save those taxpayer dollars, and it is an opportunity worth taking. I thank you, Mr. President. I ask for my remarks to be printed in the Journal.